He's working YouTube. Amazing. Okay. So if someone needs to go to YouTube, that would work too. Yeah, so this is Zeta. So welcome all. Do you want to start telling us? We always love when we start to see where you are connecting from. So please tell us in the chat where you are right now. We like to see where everyone is. Jessica from Croatia, oh, beautiful. And Chiara is in Italy, Sweden, Macedonia. Oh, hello, Johan. Hola, Saima. Marina is here in Kiev. Oh, Marina, so good to see you. Belgium, Germany. Oh, love it. Oh, Marta is also here. This is really like a reunion of all nice people. Simone is here again. Hello. I see some people here from the bootcamp. I hope you are doing well, implementing everything that you learned. Oh, Marta, you joined. So good. And Smith. Oh, so nice to see you all of. Oh, Christina. Oh my God, so nice, all of you. I see a lot of our old students and current students. So thanks so much for being here. So, Cinta, your video is not on. If you are there, you want to put it?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good. So you see, hello, welcome. Hello. So let me start.
Everyone.
Yeah. So you see, ladies, there is people all around the world joining. So I'm gonna start recording before I forget. Sometimes I forget it. So this should be working. Nina is also from Ukraine. Oh, hello. Maybe Nina, you know Marina. It's also here. So good to see you all. So welcome everyone to our very special class. Let's speak with two experts. And here you can see Vega there, Vega Asensio, and Cinta. And I've been telling you some stories about them. But just to start, I shared that first I met Vega because we both were invited to speak in a podcast speaking about our entrepreneurial life, because Vega was also a biologist like me. Well, we are biologists, and also did her PhD, was working in research, and then started Norarte. So if you haven't seen it, I've been putting the website. I'm going to put it here again. Please check norarte.es or .org.
Yes, .es.
.es. Because they are amazing and doing things we are going to see today. Yeah? Things like graphical designs, preparing rockstar presentations, and also how to communicate verbally those presentations. And that's what Cinta does. And we met in this podcast, and I love these connections and meeting people that also work with scientists. And then through Vega is that I got introduced to Cinta. Cinta contacted me, and then it was like, oh, you're also a yoga teacher. Yeah. Oh my God, what a coincidence. And again, also biologist. And like I told you in the email today, also very committed to help people that often don't feel comfortable with speaking in public. And this is really important. It's a skill. I always say, like, productivity, writing are skills. And that means you first learn a few things, then you practice, and that's how you get better. And they are crucial skills in academia, and the same as having skills about presenting and communicating your work, the part that Cinta is going to tell us about, and also the skills of at least basic design for designing your slides, because we need to do that all the time. So please get the skills. Now, also a bit of a disclaimer, then at the end, Cinta and Vega will tell you also how you can work together with them if you are interested on continuing this journey. And also, as part of this collaboration, I also get some money from that. So if anyone at the end is interested, please let them know, and then move further this journey of improving yourself as a speaker and as a presenter. Mm-hmm. And just before we move, also, I want to highlight something that we were discussing, and this that doing this, working on these skills are important, right? It's important when you go to a conference and you need to give a presentation and you want to do a good job. This is important, of course. Or when you are defending your PhD and you want to give a good presentation, it's important. But there are moments when it's really important. And here, like we were talking, when you are have passed the first phase of a grant and you pass to the next phase, often these big grants involve a presentation. We're talking, for example, ERC grants is very common. In the Netherlands, for example, it's also very common in some of the national grants to have to do these presentations. So anyone in those moments, please consider, because they are critical moments that your salary in the end depends on it. Sometimes it's also when you presentation for a job, presentation for like a position. So think about those moments and either with us or on your own, but prepare very well for those situations, okay? Because in the end, your next job might depend on that. Now with this, we have two questions. So just tell us in the chat first, at the level of oral presentations, what would you like to improve? What do you already notice that there is room for improvement that gets you stuck? So please start sharing in the chat. So we always love to see these answers, and then here our experts, this is an opportunity. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. They can also tell us about how to improve some of those things. Oh, they are coming. So Natalia says confidence. Yes, such an important thing. Laura, wonder too much. Waffle, yes. Engaging with the audience.
Very good.
Marcel is
Very good with the opening, yeah.
The opening, yes, we are going to see. Lina says about good story. Big crowds, yes, indeed, 200, 400 people. It can be overwhelming.
Finding words better, yeah, the better words.
How much to include.
Summarize.
Stop voice from shaking. Oh, Kat, that I always had the feeling like, oh, everyone is noticing that I'm like trembling. But then often the other side, they don't notice, eh? So don't worry too much about that. But this is us who has.
Don't be afraid of questions. That's very important too.
Yes, I see a lot about storytelling. Yes, so good too.
Time to think and not to speak too fast as well, right?
Very love it. Not talking too fast yet. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay, yeah, we are going to cover some of these things here, not all, but you give us ideas also to keep also sharing things with you. Also in emails and an article in the blog that is coming. So this is really
I promise.
nice.
I promise.
Yes, Cinta will write that article soon. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And is there something that you have a special worry? If someone has a special worry when you're speaking in the oral presentation that is like, my biggest fear is, you can also share, and that we would love to see. And I don't know if you already realize, but when you are sharing these things and when you are reading, you see that I think almost everything is repeated, right? At least there is another person with the same. So this is very common. Okay, someone is sharing here privately the logic of organizing the content. Yes, of course, it needs to have a logic. Oh, yeah, that fear, that question that we don't know the response.
Yeah, there are tips to manage the questions. No worries.
Love that.
Yeah,
yes.
Not having English as a native language. No problems. It's going to be a blessing for the audience because you're going to talk very simple and easy to understand. Maybe it's abundant.
Yes, and this is something also I always share, that think that most of your audience probably are not English speakers. Well, depending where the conference is, right? But this is something that happens also with our writing. Oh, yeah, Catherine, I hate that. Those long questions, and you're like, what was the question again? But in those cases, it's okay to ask, right? What was the question again? It's not a problem. Oh, we love to see all these fears. Okay, so no worries, we will keep answering those questions bit by bit. Even if we don't have time for all of them today, we will cover them at some point.
And the stress management as well is a paramount point in our course. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, the audience, right.
Love that. Okay, well, let's start covering some of these things. Then at the end, hopefully we also have time for some questions. So if some of you have some extra questions that we haven't covered today, just so we have enough time for you to post it there. So Cinta, I'm gonna give you the stage so you can start.
Thank you. Do you like to reach improvement, a real improvement in your oral communication? If you really wish to improve it, then you are in the right place. Regardless of your role to our courses or not, today I would love to share with you, together with Vega, one of the best tips you can ever get in oral communication. They are very simple, but very, very effective. Let me start with one question. Did you know that we only have 7 seconds to make a first good impression? Just 7 seconds. That means this is 10 words. So the first tip today is not to waste words at the beginning, unless is you are obliged to do it. For example, in a PhD defense or whatever. But if you can avoid that, in the course, we are going to explain you 10 different ways of starting and ending a presentation. And maybe you remember a famous sentence of the Greek philosopher Plato, who said, the most important thing is the beginning. So please, if possible, because sometimes we have to do a speech with a few minutes ahead, but if possible, prepare it. And prepare it, especially the beginning. And practice, practice, practice. These are the 3 words you are going to listen from me very often. Practice, practice, practice. Why? Because if at least you practice 3 times, then you sort of integrate it with you. It's maybe you think that improvising is better. I'm not quite sure, because I think that if we take just a few seconds even to think a bit about, and if you could write it down, then you can feel if these words are precise, are effective. And as another important quote that maybe you have heard, if you could say something in 1 word, don't say it in 2 words. That means that you need time. Otherwise, we improvise, but we don't concrete, we don't synthesize very well. As like another famous quote from Pascal, I think, was, I wrote this letter so long because I didn't have time to write a shorter one. So that's the same. And because the more you work it, the more you prepare, the more natural, the more you will flow with your words, is to practice at least 3 times. And if it's possible, use your mobile phone and record it only as an audio, or if you could, with a video. And then you could see the image you project, right? So the most important thing is, if you can prepare it, prepare the beginning and also the very end, but especially the beginning. And why? There is another added bonus to that, is that makes you feel confident. Because I know that before, the days before, or hours before, or even in the very moment, or even when you are talking, you may feel a bit unsure about if you're doing the right things. Okay, once you have decided what to say, try to flow with the situation, to have your senses open, and that's something that you are going to practice with us, is to flow with the situation and to say the words addressed to the audience in a proper way. And that gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of calm, and you project an image of professionality and honesty. And it really, really works. Yeah, okay. Well, later on, if you would like to discuss it with me, I will gladly read the comments in the chat. And so I said that you have to prepare the script. And very, very important, the script has to be tuned with the allotted time. That is, if you have 10 minutes, then prepare it for 8 minutes. Why? This 20% time will be gold for you when you are talking, because it gives you time to think and to go through the slides or whatever happened. And also your audience will be delighted if you do it in less time than the allotted time. So try to write your script. No matter if it's just a 3-minute script or 10 minutes or even half an hour. We are just talking about, for 10 minutes, it's just 1,000 words, a maximum. So you'll have to prepare for 800, and it's not so much. If you would like to have a tip, a shortcut to prepare your script, is that you can use the word option. Anna, you have tried that, and you have the option to dictate to your word program. So you just sit comfortably on your chair and dictate, and with some mistakes, it's written down. So once you have corrected, you know exactly how many words you are saying in these 10 minutes. Then you check if it's around 800 to 1,000, that is fine for 10 minutes. If it's more, please reduce it. Please reduce it until you get this amount of words, and then you got the script. And the script you practice at least 3 times, as I said, then, but don't practice just sitting. Stand up, communicate it as if you were in front of an audience, and say them, because sometimes better this another word than this one. So when you get the script, then you have the beginning. So that's the first thing you could do. Well, you will learn also how to structure the presentation and some tips for the script. But this could be one way of doing it, right? There are many other ways, because in our course, what we would like to do is give you several options, and then you choose. Like you were in a self-service buffet, you try, and you try different things, and then you decide what is to you or what not. But try it first, then you can decide. So there is not only one way of doing things. There are different ways of doing things. And I don't know, Anna, if I have some more time left, or we would better change or whatever.
Yes, we can continue a little bit more, Cinta.
All right. Well, another tip would be sentence, the quote that Vega and I share most is less is more. I'm sure you have heard it many times for image, for to be elegant or whatever. Also applies into oral communication. Less is more. A few minutes ago, I comment that if you can say things in one word, don't use two. Well, the same applies for slides or for other things in communication. Synthesize and go straight to the point. And I don't know if you have ever heard the KISS principle, KISS, keys, like kids, right? Well, I didn't make it up, but I think it's very funny because it means keep it simple, stupid. So it was not my idea. I know it could be, it's a bit special, but easy to remember. So keep it simple. And that will help you if English is not your native language, because you are not going to get complicated. So, but regardless of the language, because another interesting thing is to write in your own language script and then translate it. That's another way of doing it. As I said, there is not only one way of doing things. So keep it simple. Don't long sentences with lots of commas and whatever. Keep it simple and everybody will be very happy with you. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, to close my comments, I would like to address your question is, do you know who is the most important person in a talk? It's not me, it's you, the listener. The listener is the most important person. We are here to give, to communicate, to share, because there is a person who is listening to us. And even it's not me, the one, by chance it's me, but it's my message, what I'm sharing. So maybe, I don't know, in 2 years' time, you forgot about me. You don't know, even remember my name or whatever, but maybe you remember some of the tips I've given to you. And that's the important thing. And that's what I'm looking forward to, for you to pick up something that is useful. I don't want you to waste your time because you are giving me the best you have is your time. And so thank you for being here. And if there is any question, I will answer it later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Cinta. Very nice. I was here taking all kind of notes, and I told you I love all these things, like practice 3 times, reduce it to 80%, and it's so nice. Later at the end, we will have some more time for chatting. Also, if you have any more questions.
Well, someone said, keep it simple, Simon. Well, another possibility. It doesn't matter. The important thing is to remember to keep it simple. The way doesn't matter.
Yes, love that. So we will continue now with Vega, and then if you have also questions or things that we would like that Cinta later also elaborates more, please just post it in the chat. And so yes, we keep tracking of the time. So Vega will tell us now more about the slide preparation.
Hello, thank you very much, Cinta. It was very nice to listen to you. And now is my time, so thank you very much, Anna, for the opportunity to speak to all of you about one of my passions, that is the graphic design. So in this little talk, we are going to speak about what we need to consider before starting preparing our slides. We are going to speak a little bit about the methodology. Also, we are going to design the title slide. Hope you like it. And we are going to end with the common mistakes and how we could, how we could deal with them. So let's start. Oh, 1 second. Now, so as Cinta said, the audience want a story, and we are going to tell this story in different ways. The audience is going to have different sources. One is going to be myself, my body, my speech, and the other one is going to be the slide presentation. And in these slides, I'm going to have different type of contents. I'm going to have images, I'm going to have icons, text, videos, and so on. And it is true that a picture, it worth 10,000 words. I totally agree with that. I'm an illustrator. But in this case, we have different languages. We have said that already. So it's not everything about the slides. Remember that there are languages together and we need to convey them properly. Okay. So these messages that I'm going to have in my slides, first, I need to know which are going to be the images, the text, and then I need to put them in the right order. And it's true that it's not an easy task. It's not easy, but we have a plan, okay? We have a methodology. Picasso needed 42 sketches to do the final art. So we have this methodology that is going to start always from the analogical, okay? The pen, the pencil. So we are going to forget the computer. Believe me, this is the right way to start. So this is going to be a brainstorming. This is a creative action, what we are doing, creating a presentation. We need to speak, because when we speak, we are able to order our ideas. So this is very, very important. Very important. And in this way, we are going to find the messages that we need to communicate to our public. And once that we have these messages, the first tip is to put it in a post-it. And each post-it is going to be one slide. And after, while I'm developing my presentation, I could reorder things. So this is a very nice methodology. And so keep it simple, Simon. So one concept per slide. This is very, very, very important. Why? Because our brain, for our brain, it's very difficult to deal with a lot of ideas, with a lot of concepts. So we need to go step by step. Otherwise, our brain, what it does is to switch off, and then we lose the people. Okay, so step by step. And Cinta already said it, but less is more. Now, after saying that about the methodology, now we are going to prepare a title slide. Here I'm going to speak a little bit about graphic design, but graphic design is complicated. I mean, there are a lot of things that we need to take into account: color, composition, typography, the relationship between the elements. We would need a lot of time to speak about that. So I thought that it would be nice to design with you a title slide of the first slide that our audience is going to see. It is very important because it sets the tone of the presentation. Imagine that sometimes this slide is going to be before we get on the stage or before we start talking. So it is really important. So it sets the tone, and then we need to have always, and this is mandatory, a picture or an illustration, a photo, wherever you want to. But it has to be an image. We need an image. And then after, we are going to have the test, like the title, the authorship, affiliation, and so on. Of course, there is a work here to choose the right picture about the topic, of course, and to choose the right test. The title test is also very, very important. But once that we have that, the graphic design comes in, and we need to take decisions on where I'm going to put the picture, where are going to be the text, which is the typography that I'm going to use, the colors, and so on. So first tip, when you prepare a cover, the image is the ones who commands. So imagine, I have this picture here. So where are going to be the text? Here, okay? So you need always to find the place for your test. And then at a glance, you already see that there are two blocks of test. The first one is the title that is on top, so it's much more important. The size is bigger also. And then we have the authorship and the affiliation that is smaller in the bottom. So these are decisions that I need to take. I'm not going to do the other way around. I choose the color black, that's fine. And then I choose upper cases for some keywords. You see, these are all decisions that I need to take for my audience to have the straight information. Okay, so another example, okay? Here. This is quite a funny image because it's very white. So maybe it's not a good idea to use this one. Okay, what do you think if we do one thing like that? I have in the middle this image. I'm going to speak about tracks, and then I split the text. I have my title on the at the top again, and then all the other text down there. So you see the composition here. Did you realize about the color of the text? It's not black, it's one brown that is in the picture. So I choose colors that are already in my contents and I repeat them. This is another thing about the graphic design, the repetition. The repetition comes with a harmony. I do it all the time the same, all the time the same color. I align the title always in the same place. Of course, you might say, okay, but Vega, I want to break the rules. Okay, first, we need to know how to apply the rules, and then we will find ways to break them, okay? So repetition. And then another one. So what do you think about this? So I have some proteins here. I have a black background. So question here for the chat. Which would be the background color? White, black, pink? So we need to integrate things. So black, thank you very much. So black. Then, of course, if I want to take, I could take or pick up colors from the image again. So you see, with these three examples, I hope that you realize about the function of the graphic design, that you need to go little by little thinking about the composition, the colors, typography, and so on, the relationship between the elements that I have there in my slide. Okay, and after this, we go to the third part that I have entitled like this, our enemies. I think that there are three, okay? So the first one is the decoration or the noise. They are not the same, but they do the same in my presentation, that is that I lost effectivity. So of course, if I'm speaking and I switch on the radio, this is going to be noise. And maybe the song is very, very nice, but it's going to be decoration, because now is my time. Okay, in the slide, what's decoration? What is noise? They are elements that don't have a meaning. Okay, so for example, here, this is a template. This is very typical from templates. So my piece of advice is that don't use templates, okay? But here, for example, you have this orange that is very bright. This is noise. This is noise because I can't read properly. What do you think about the nice icon in the right? This nice microscope. It's very nice, but it's decoration. Okay, if I remove all these elements, what it's going to get there is the real information. So I'm going to be able to go straight forward to my audience. Okay, here is another example about noise. The title is in Basque, okay, but the thing is that the title is white, and in my background this photo has also white things, and they are vertical, so it's very difficult to read it. So this is noise again. So what can I do? I change the picture, I change the color, I put a band to be able to read it properly. So there are different ways to do it, and graphic designs has a lot of solution for that. So noise and decoration, we need to remove them. Solutions, look, well, I have said it already, but look for the elements that don't have meaning and remove them, or look for the elements that hinder the communication, okay, and remove them. And this will make your slides more simpler. That's what we want to, more elegant. Another thing that is very, very typical, and especially from scientists, is that we use a lot of data, a lot of content. Why? Because we want to tell how much work we have done. That's true, but maybe our message doesn't arrive to the right port. So be careful with that. So this is from my PhD, and it's too much data graph together for. Okay, what I should have done is to give step by step the data, one data graph, then another one, and explain it. Because otherwise, if I start explaining day 10, maybe the audience doesn't know where is this graph, okay? But maybe you tell me, okay, Vega, but after I want to summarize. Okay, when you summarize, you can put it together because the people already, they have seen already all the data, okay? This is from the Matt Carter's book, Designing Science Presentation, that is the same, but this way I also speak about this wonderful book that I have here, that I think that we all should have in our labs, okay? Designing Science Presentation from Matt Carter. And then when we are able to use graphic design properly, we could do things like this. So the question is here, maybe you know this little joke. How many 6, the number 6, do you see here? So if I give you enough time, you will know, you will count them, and you will know how many 6 there are here. To be honest, I don't know right now, okay? But if I help you, okay, I use the color, I use the contrast. See how easy it is. So we come now to science. See, this is an example from Alberto Cairo. He's an infographist. And see, there are here a lot of data in gray scale, you see, but he is giving us 2 countries. Oh, sorry, Brazil and 2 data, you see, using the same graphic design tool, you see. But this is once that we are able to do this kind of data graph. So, and in this way we are giving it, we are showing that we have done a lot of work, but giving just one message. Okay, so this was about those and the solutions. Again, cut down the excess of information, split it in different slides or steps, and then highlight the relevant information. That is I think that the more difficult thing to do. And then, of course, as you might be thinking, the test. The tests are our enemies. We can't, be careful. Like the slides are. The slides are not a word sheet. Okay, we can't. As we say in the beginning, our audience wants a story, but this story needs to be told. We are not here to read. We are here to listen and to see. And okay, so be careful with that. So this is not possible. This is too much test. So what do we do? Again, we need to cut. We need to take the keywords, the numbers, and we need a visual complement. So I showed you this. These are the keywords. These are the numbers, and all the other. I say it myself. I say it because I am here to speak. Okay, so this is the way we need to deal with the test. Cut down, again, look for the graphic complement, separate information, and highlight important words. All this with graphic design. So this was what I have prepared for you, a little bit about methodology, a little bit of graphic design, designing a title slide, and these common mistakes and the way to solve them. So I hope you like it, and now we are ready for the discussion. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vega. It was really nice. And would you like also, because look, we have some questions coming. Before we go to questions, would you like to tell them about them working together?
Okay, so let me
maybe have some
one
material.
second.
Yes, and we have some time now indeed for questions. So while we prepare that, Simon is asking, what is the ideal text size to be used? Do you have a recommendation for that?
Okay, I mean, it depends. It depends on where we are. I mean, we can't compare the title slide where we need to have a title, and there are a lot of ways. So, of course, the tip is that we need to do things as shorter as possible. Cinta said it in the very beginning. If you can't tell one thing in one word, why should you use 2? Okay, but there are rules like for example, all the tests that you have in your slide can be more than 1/4. But these are all rules. Okay. There are also rules like when we have list. Okay, there is a very famous book that says bulls kill, that we shouldn't be using list. But the truth is that I use them and I really love them. And how many items could I put there? Here, for example, we have 3. They say that at the most we should have 6 in the list. But if you could reduce to 3, that would be wonderful. But again, science is complicated. We have a lot of things to tell. Then if I have 6 items with 6 little sentences, maybe I need to try to highlight the keywords with bold, for example, or changes the color. And then this person is not going to have 6 items. It's going to have 6 keywords or 3 keywords. So I don't think I am answering your question, but it really depends, and it really try to make it shorter. So
I once was told that the ideal font size, like in the, not in the title, right? In the general, should be the average age of your audience, which of course it can make it quite big. But I always, like when I see small font size, I think, oh, how elegant. But then, yeah, like someone that is already starting to lose sight, it's not that good. So yeah, go big, I would say.
Yeah, go big.
If I could add something that depends on the room, this slide is going to be seen. It's not the same a room for 20 people that for 2,000 or many hundred. So if it's a big room, you need to have bigger fonts. So I don't know, but this is my opinion.
Yeah, there is an average also.
Yeah, you have to check if it's possible to read it from the back.
Yeah, and it would be very nice if we could go before giving the talk and see really which is the place. And if we can't really inform about the size of the room, that would be important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, thank you. We will be indeed saying more about the question. So Cinta, do you want to tell us a bit about the program?
Well, I just wanted to add what so nicely Vega said, that we are here to help you to translate your work, your research into oral communication. And people would like to listen to the story. And as much as possible, try never to read your slides. Never to read, because we read faster than someone speaks. So it's better never to read. And our intention is to give you a helping hand and going together with the person that would like to improve their oral communication, and that really is committed to have an improvement. The best way is to do a private coaching. So our proposal is, the curriculum is plenty of the, Vega, you didn't have a slide with the blocks, with the topics?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No,
anyway,
I didn't prepare it. Sorry about that.
No worries. I would say that we have 4 big groups. One is the audience and the structure of the presentation and how to prepare a script. Then we have the languages of communication. Then we have the slides design and the stress management, and to end with how to deliver communication. So that means to put every ingredient into delivering communication. Those are the topics that are in the curriculum. You will have access for 12 months. You will have videos and workbooks and all sorts of information, right? And then privately, every student will receive 2 hours of coaching, one with Vega and another one with me. That means 3 hours of our work, because we have to prepare. Vega has to have a look to the slides first and decide what is better to improve them. And the same with me. You're going to send me videos. You're going to record yourself videos and send it to us. I will watch them and then make suggestions. So the first of all, an auto introduction, self-introduction, and then you will prepare your final exercise. But you have with me half an hour to prepare it. I mean, you make a rehearsal, you send me the video, and I will give you some directions. And then the final one will be the definite questions and tips for you, right? All the session will be streaming only with you, so you can be confident, because we will become a sort of family, oral communication family between Vega, you and me. And you can start it anytime, anywhere, because the streaming sessions will be arranged only with Vega and me and the participant. And I think that's all I have to say with that slide. Vega, would you like to add something for that? If not, you can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, that's just, I'm not going to read it as I said. Yeah, the one before, please. Yeah. Yes, to prepare, rehearse, and give. So we would love, our goal is that you enjoy speaking in public. It's not because of you, it's because you message. You have your research and your message to share with the world. And we are going with you to help you do it, and in the best way to have a great impact. And not only for job interviews, but also for your project interviews or your grant proposals or whatever you need. Because every field of your life will change in regard to oral communication. It's going to make you more confident in any situation. Really, it will work. And our proposal is the next slide, please. Vega?
Yes. No.
Now, yes, until the 1st November, we offer you well, our normal price is 400 euros, VAT included, to a 20% discount, 320, and the VAT is included, because in Spain it works different as in other European countries or other countries in the world. And so I think that's all I have to say. We really had wonderful results with many, many people. We have been teaching face-to-face courses in hospitals, research centers. Even we have had a group in for Roche in Costa Rica with for the physicians in that area, and we did this personal coaching, private coaching, and they were very, very happy. And that's why we keep doing this course, because the results are great, and you can ask Vega or myself whenever you need, and we will be there for any question. So that's more or less all.
Thank you so much, Cinta and Vega. And could you maybe Vega, could you drop in the chat your email? Because if anyone is interested, you can send an email.
Of course.
To
Yeah, you can
Vega
put
and,
Cintas also.
Or Cinta's email.
Or
and
the
then,
info, Vega, the info at Norarte.
Okay, yeah, one second.
And
then maybe the link to the website, that will be useful too. Although you are going to share, Anna, we are going to share this recording with all the people has been enrolled.
Yes. So I will indeed
Yeah.
send the replay and then the links for anyone interested. This was really, really nice. So we have still some questions. Also, if you have some questions, something you would like to ask, you can drop it in the chat or raise your hand. We can always unmute. So let me, so Kat was asking, how is the best way to present tables?
Yeah, I was reading it. Yeah, I would say that the tables need to be transformed to be in a slide. So the answer is don't use tables. Or and if you use a table, it needs to be very small. And then another thing that we could always do with tables, with data graph, is to illustrate them. Okay, you could always put icons to refer to each item or each group, and in this way it's much more easier to understand. Then if you put a table, which is I guess that they are going to be numbers to be highlighted, so you need to highlight them. Why are you putting this table? So you could use color, you could use size, you could use contrast, as we have seen in the data graph. But the best is that you transform this table in another thing, because and never ever put big. Another thing that we were saying before, that it's important that we see the words or the numbers in the right size enough to read it. If you put a big table, it's going to be impossible to read. So really be careful with the tables. I would say that we shouldn't be using them or in the slides. And another thing I would like to say also is that sometimes we have an article, we have published an articles, and there we have figures, tables, and so on. And after we need to give a talk. And what we do is to pick up these figures and we put them directly in the slide. That's impossible. You need to do a reconstruction of all that, because I don't know how to say it in English now, but the place where you put it is different. You can't compare a screen with the paper. So you really need to rearrange everything. So be careful with that also.
I think I never did that. I always avoided tables, but never really that figure. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing, Vega. We have a new question from Carolina. Do you want to read it?
No. Pastel colors. Okay. What you really need with the colors is that you need to have a contrast. Okay? So if you are using pastel colors, maybe in a background that is white, maybe it doesn't have enough contrast and it's going to be difficult to read. So I think that that's why they have given you this piece of advice, because things need to have contrast. So there are tools. I guess I never use them with the slides, but I know that for websites there are tools to check that the contrast is okay. So I guess that there might be a tool to do it. Another thing, speaking about it, that is very, very important, is the thing about the green and red, the daltonism. So 10% of the men have a kind of daltonism. So never use green and red together. Always red and blue. This is a good combination.
That is a bit in line with Gail, yeah.
Yeah, so. Mm-hmm.
Are there, this is very interesting, Gail. So are there, Vega, other kind of improving accessibility that you would recommend? For example, if somebody cannot hear so well, to help them follow along?
Yeah, the thing is that, as I told you, Anna, I have been using these tools for websites, but then I haven't used any tool for the slides presentation. Mm-hmm. I do have some articles. I'm going to find them, and I could share them with you, Anna, and check if nice. There is anything about that apart of the daltonism thing.
Yes, that would be great.
But I didn't use any tool myself, sorry.
Yes, please share it with me, and then I will share. And I think I have also something also that one of our students wants share inside a course, also very nice, for palettes of colors. Okay, we also have Karina says pastels as background is fun. Yes, I think so, right? Because that's about the contrast. Yeah. And Gabriela has a very good question. I will read it. One has 5 minutes to present the research done in the last 5 years. Oof, that sounds like a challenge. In what should you focus? What should you focus on? The research gap, the results? Do you have some recommendation?
The question is, where are you going to present this presentation? You know, for who? What the audience wants. So if it is about trying to get a new research funding, maybe you need to go through one way, and maybe if it is about telling how much you have done or which has been your results, maybe you need to go through another. But here I believe that the preparation for the presentation, this analogical part is very, very, very important. So you will have to discuss with other people. You will need a huge brainstorming to know really how to synthesize these 5 years. So
maybe Gabriela can tell us more in the chat. What is it for? If you want to, maybe we can sharpen that a bit more. I also wanted to share something also based on some of the comments that we had in the beginning, also of the struggle of how much to put in and to not say so much. And I was, as Vega was sharing, I was also thinking on scientific writing, how similar in the end is. So this that you were saying, like one slide, one message. I always say one paragraph, one message. So kind of our paragraphs in scientific writing could be like the slides in presentation. And just sharing also another similarity that if you have attended already some of my classes, or when my students know that I'm really, really annoying with start with your questions. Start with the main questions and the gap that you are going to solve, and then build the story from there. So some of you were saying about the story, and then from those questions that you will highlight what are the gaps, that's the tension part of your story, and then from there you go backwards. And then for a paper, I always say, like, what is the minimum amount of information that my audience needs to understand these questions? So you could also ask yourself that in a presentation, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then about how much results to present in a paper, I always tell them the minimum amount of information to answer that question that you showed. So again, if you are showing what is the main question of this work that you're going to present, also think on the minimum amount of results you need to show to give that answer. Would you agree, ladies, with this? Is this something that you would?
Definitely.
So that just to come back and keep focus on how much to do. Okay, now in the meantime, there are some more things here coming up. Let me see. Jeremy is asking, how would you seek feedback about the presentation that you need to give?
And to measure success. And so, right, I would like to say that you don't have to wait until the end of the presentation to know that. You have to be in front of people. It doesn't matter if it's online, it's more difficult, but it's face to face. If you have your senses open, you could feel, you could notice if your audience is following you or not, if they're enjoying or getting bored. Because this is the best and the worst thing. If they get bored in your presentation, they're going to start using this and they're going to disconnect. So for me, another part of the curriculum is how to maintain the interest on the audience. So the idea is that you have to interact. First of all, looking at your audience, looking at everyone now and then. I mean, nobody has to be left out. If I don't look to the left side of the audience will feel they are not paid attention by me. So the idea is make questions, do something to involve, not need they answer the questions, but now and then you can make questions, or do you know that? Or things that keep them interested. Because if it's a 5 minutes presentation, if people are very interested in the topic, maybe they will follow you easily. But if they are not very interested, we are going to disconnect. So if the audience is the most important thing of your presentation, try to get some feedback, and you will learn how to notice this sign of feedback, that they are following your talk or not, or are getting bored or whatever. So then it's enough. You don't have to give a piece of paper written down, oh, that was a very good presentation or very interesting. But it's important is to maintain your audience engaged, catch their attention from the beginning, maintain their attention, and make a beautiful ending to be remembered. Don't say, another tip is don't put the typical thank you. If you want to say thank you, which is great, say it. Don't write it. Put another slide, in my opinion. Vega, I don't know what you think about what is my.
I have used a thank you slide today. So
I always do that too.
But that's a good thing, you know. It's not the only one way of doing things. There are many different ways. But this suits me. I will say thank you, and I will say thank you really at the very end of the session, because I thank you so much. You are the engine for us to be here. So I prefer not to put it, and neither put a lovely pussycat picture, which I've seen so many times. No, just put a picture of, I don't know, of your work, research team or whatever you like, something that you, if you have after that Q&A session, you can keep it, because a thank you on your back when you are on the Q&A session makes no sense at all. Maybe a slide that summarizes your presentation.
Yeah,
and okay,
nice.
that's but the really important thing is to give, that the audience has the feeling that you went there to give them something, and it's your message, and they take this message home. I would love also doing things like that. For example, this is a ball, right? But this is a symbol of my message. I have to make sure that I send you the message and that I got the confirmation that you got the message and take it home with you. Whatever. That's the most important thing for the audience, the message.
And Cinta, Yolanda is also here now saying, pointing to something very nice, and that indeed, what about when the audience is virtual and they have their cameras off? What do you take as an indicator when we don't see their faces? That it happens.
Right, so that's very tough. Because in the online, we have the distance, we don't have the energy. You couldn't feel my energy if we were done as we were face to face. So then you have to be even more animated, make them more participate, as we decided today to make questions and be answered through the chat. Do things to get this, what you cannot have in an online, but you can have in a face-to-face. So that's the thing, be animated. People get bored easily. And another important thing is when in an online, it's better that your audience listens to you properly than to see you properly. Because if it's blur the image, it doesn't matter. But if I can hear you properly, then it's I will be recorded. I'm going somewhere. So that's my tips.
In this case, Yolanda, I want to just share, because I do a lot of online things. For me, it's also the impact that you have after. So when after you hear from people that were there and they send you an email or they tell you they liked it or they have questions, I always think, oh, this was successful. You know, it engaged them enough to continue. And actually in person too, right? Like when you are in a conference and you finish and people approach you and ask you more questions or want to know more, it's also an indicator that went well. Or even at the lab, if this happens at the lab and people want to know more, this is always an indicator. I would take silence as a bad sign, but okay, sometimes also happens.
Absolutely, and right.
In the meantime, Gabriela, who had this very nice question about the 5 minutes for 5 years, he has clarify more that is for the department, for the new professor and the colleagues. So how to summarize 5 years of research into 5 minutes? Any tip?
Yeah, in this case, Gabriela, maybe is it important to speak about the methodology? Maybe, I mean, because when you have, that's a big, that's a long time. So I guess that you need to put the spot somewhere. Maybe the people, that new people in the lab, maybe they are more interested in the methodology that you use. And then, so you could start maybe like from a very general approach, and then make the effort to explain the methodology that you have used, the techniques. Maybe I don't know. I don't know, but maybe there is the point. And in this way, you don't have to explain all the results only once, while you are saying how many things or how much thing you can do in your lab for the people that are new. So if you apply these techniques, you might be able to use them here or there. I don't know, I'm not expert in this part, but maybe could it help?
Yeah, that's really nice again. And I think we come back to the same that Cinta and Vega are highlighting, that the most important person is the receiver, right? So always think on who's the audience and what's the goal. I'm also a fanatic of goals at any level. So what's the goal of this talk? And why does your professor want, for example, that you give that talk, right? And from that, move on.
Just
Yes,
one little
Cinta.
thing about one comment. The happy faces of the audience are the major source of feedback. And somebody said, I think that's when gestures and body language help you to keep your audience engaged. Okay, but don't expect happy faces of people if you don't show anytime a smile. I mean, we know from neuroscience that the mirror neurons work when we see somebody smiling, people smile and copy the gesture. So try, although it's a very serious matter, very serious topic, what you are going to talk about, try to smile now and then, because that gives you confidence. Your brain reads that there is no problem if you are smiling. So do it for yourself, for your benefit, but also do it this is my tip for everyone, smile now and then to the audience and you'll get this feedback. And yes, with your body, with your gestures, you can make them engage.
Yes, so nice. And I wanted to also mention that there is a question from Eugenia. Eugenia, I hope you are still here. Eugenia is one of our nice students. Would you agree to not to follow a paper structure presentation? So the classical introduction, methods, result, discussion. Any suggestion on flow? What do you think?
Again, like it depends on where you are giving this talk. Imagine that this is this dissemination talk that you are in your town. Maybe you could start with a question, and but I think that if you are in a congress, the people are waiting that you follow this structure. If you start in another way, people are going to start making questions to themselves. So I would say that when we are in a congress, we need to follow this structure. And then if you are doing a dissemination talk there, you could do wherever you want to. I mean, you could also sing if you want to. But I believe that it's always a good structure to start from the beginning. I think I have never, usually we do regular, we use this structure always. So I don't know, Cinta, if you have any, but.
So I would say at least the important thing, and also because people were asking about storytelling there, right? So storytelling is not the same as telling a story. Okay, so storytelling is presenting information in a certain order that actually triggers a physiological reaction in our bodies as listeners. And there is this structure that it has been shown that is what does the job. And that is presenting a background, then presenting the conflict, the challenge, the problem that the hero has to overcome, then all the things that this hero is going to do. That's kind of the development. And then we have in the end the resolution. So that's the structure of a classical storytelling process. And if you think about it, a paper follows that structure. So you present in the introduction, you present that background. Towards the end of the introduction, you present the conflicts, the questions that are not solved, that need an answer. Then during the methods, you explain what the hero is going through in all your experiments. And then results and discussion is that resolution. That's what why sometimes even is combined, right? So it's also, I think, why it makes sense. So for anyone that is starting with the storytelling, remember on this order and present the things this way. And Eugenia or anyone wanting to kind of present it in another way, just try to at least tell the story with these elements that we have said. Okay? Even if you, for example, I really like also starting with these hooks. That first slide also that is about catching the attention. I don't know, what is your opinion about that? this kind of a slide that maybe is a little bit out of ordinary? Do you have some opinion, Vega and Cinta?
You have to start in, it's very good what you have said, transform this typical structure of a Congress presentation to a story. That's the same, but to do it in a different way. As Vega said, you have to know the rules and then to break the rules when necessary. So I love that. And that's why we have 10 ways to start a presentation, but that could be written on a slide, or you can say it, whatever. It's not important. The important thing is not to start with your own name. Never. Why? Because the audience are not used to your accent, to your voice, and give them just few words and they will get used to that. And another is an interesting question to me, is there any breathing technique to calm down the heartbeat before speech?
Yes.
Well, that's why we have the topic of the stress management. And, you know, you and I are yoga teachers, and we know that the pranayama science has thousands of different breathing techniques and many other things to calm down. And I will be delighted to share with you in the course. So, of course, and to become a TED talker, oh, that's, well, becoming a TED talker or being like Steve Jobs, or, well, that's quite common. I don't know if you have ever heard that these wonderful talks, at least on average, take 6 months to be prepared. 6 months with experts in any field. I mean, with different coaches. So with that time, is plenty of time with so many people helping you, so you can become a TED talker, but it's not easy for everyone. So I'm not promising you the moon. I'm not promising you will become tomorrow a TED talker, but I promise you that if you work hard with us, then you will be so confident that you will delighted to give a talk whenever you are asked, because you have to prepare it. You cannot rush into the computer and make a new presentation from an old one, as Vega said. You have to start from scratch, as to see your presentation with new eyes, because it's going to be for a different audience. And for every audience, you have to adapt your presentation. Sometimes maybe you can use some slides, but there are different people, different ages, different knowledges, different number of people, a lot of time. You have to change many things. So really, if you come with us, you will become such a confident talker that you say, wow, why nobody did that before? And this is what happened to me. This is what happened to me 15 years ago. And I attended a course and I said, why nobody has told me that before? I say, so it's a few things, but adapted, because many of the things I've said, you can find it on the internet. I'm not discovering the moon. So, but on the internet, you are not going to have the feedback with the slides that Vega could give you, the feedback with your verbal, non-verbal, paraverbal that you can have with me. And then you know also how to avoid mistakes. Because a mistake, little mistakes doesn't matter. Don't be scared. Everybody makes mistakes, but little mistakes. But to avoid the big mistakes that can ruin a presentation. And that's for sure, you are going to be aware and you know how to do it right. Yeah, this is what I could promise.
Thanks, Cinta. And it's really nice that you mentioned that to give TED Talk, they spend 6 months, and
average,
this is how much
on average.
there is a lot of preparation, and it seems like, oh yeah, they are so natural, but there is hours and hours behind. And I just quickly check, and actually there are a lot of books out there of how to speak and give talks like TED Talks. So if you're interested in books, there are a few out there. Yeah, but just remember this, it's about that. It's getting the skill, knowing all these tools, how to do it, and then practicing and practicing,
Right.
Oh, Eugenia is recommending also podcasts. Think Fast, Talk Smart. Oh, I will write it down. Eugenia, I've never heard about that one. Very nice. And okay, we are going to start closing the session then. And well, Anna, about breathing techniques, one of my favorite ones that I always talk about is the box breathing, where you imagine a square and you inhale for 5 seconds, hold your breath for 5 seconds, exhale 5 seconds, hold your breath, and then you start again. And this is a very, very powerful breathing technique to calm yourself down, not only when you want to speak with, but any other situation. I often recommend it before writing to calm down your nervous system and let the words come.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful technique, this one. Yeah.
That was very nice.
Best thing is to try different ones and pick up the one that suits you best, and that's all.
So Gerarda is asking, what was your biggest challenge faced in a presentation and how was overcome? So I just want to quickly share that, because I shared this in a post, that I don't know you, but I finished biology without giving a single presentation. I don't know how I did it. But whenever we did this group work, I was always like, oh, I will work super hard, extra hours, but I'm not talking, So I would take all this workload just to not speak. And there is a moment when there is no escape anymore. And for me, that was when I started the PhD. And I was so nervous and sweating, and I couldn't sleep the night before. It was horrible. So I remember those years, I would practice a lot, like 10 times. And it's what Cinta said. The more you practice, the better it is. Like you said, Cinta, at least 3 times. So full presentation over and over until get comfortable. And then also, yes, assuming that, especially for those of you doing a PhD, normal people understand that in PhD you are in training, and it's okay to make mistakes, to be completely black out, that they ask questions and you don't know. It's completely understandable. Everybody understands this, and yeah, just relax about that. It's okay. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if you are still not giving a TED Talk. No worries.
Well, in my opinion, perfection doesn't exist.
No.
In oral communication, can be useful and effective or ineffective, but perfection, because there is something, for example, I love being recorded because I could tell them some things, it will be better if I change this instead of saying this or moving my hands in that way. So perfection doesn't exist. If you are perfectionist, please don't be perfectionist in oral communication.
Yes. Well, actually, let's control the perfectionism on anything. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's also very nice. I did in the talk. Eugenia suggested just putting your hand in your pocket or grounding you. Just, of course, always everything that makes you feel your body, that can indeed make you feel grounded.
But Anna, Eugenia says putting the hand on the pocket during a presentation.
Yes.
I will suggest to avoid that.
Why?
Show your hands all the time. Show your hands all the time.
But if you are nervous, for example, just to feel your body?
With me, you're going to play the hide and seek with the nervousness. You can accept you are nervous or you're excited, but nobody has to, you cannot show it. Nobody has to notice it. And touching your body that is a sign of nervousness.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. You see, but I would say that can, I noticed like Sandy's putting the hand on my, like on the hip. No.
Well, if you do
Also
that,
no,
if you
like
do that, you're doing like the back silver, you know, being bigger, right?
Oh.
So
Yeah, no,
that's
I don't mean two, but like one is something I do.
one. Well,
Okay.
could be, but you are tending to be bigger. And we touch ourselves to find comfort. And we do, for example, if you have if you move, the movement makes us release energy. But if the audience notices the movement, that they not very clear, but they understand that you are not calm. But when you're standing and rooted on the floor, you are giving a solid position, and your message will be more solid as well. But always show your hands all the time. Don't put it on your pockets. Well, it's my opinion, right?
No, we take
another
it.
thing
Thanks
is
for
that
sharing.
we want you to be you. We don't want you to be another person, another good speaker, another TED talker. No, you have to be you. You have to shine being you. If you do it normally to put your hands in your pocket, okay, just do it. I never do it. So if I do it in a presentation, it's because I'm not 100% myself. So
Yeah, so good to know. Yeah, you see, there are all these things we don't know unless someone teaches us.
there are thousands of things that if I see you, I could tell, because there is an endless list of things that should be avoided. But there's not need for you to know everyone. Just the important thing is the ones you better don't.
So good. Okay, well then, with this, we will close the session. Thanks so much for everything. Thanks a lot. Let's say, give big applause to our guest speaker.
Thank you for you have been so nice to us, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and
thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, and thank you to also indeed all of you who stayed till the end. We went a bit over the 1 hour, but this happens a lot. So the most important, remember, in all these classes is that write down a few tips, the ones that you thought more like, oh, I didn't know this, I'm gonna practice this, or maybe I knew but I forgot. And just be sure that you practice that in your next presentation, and in your next communication.
Practice. Remember.
Yes, so important. And if anyone interested in keep working together with Cinta and with Vega, remember the emails are here. I will also send them in my next emails. And yeah, thanks so much for coming. So keep joining us to all these activities we do. We will do more activities the coming months. We're also having a writing retreat if anyone wants to attend. And yeah, just stick around and keep sharing about I Focus and Write, and also about Norarte, what they do, what we do, because you sharing with your friends, with your colleagues is what makes us this small business to thrive. And we want to thrive, and when we thrive, everybody thrives too. So let's celebrate that you were all here, and thank you. Enjoy your weekend. And
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, all my dear students who joined, thank you again for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me, Vega and Cinta, while people are leaving, maybe we can move in a breakout room.
Fine.
Okay.